This time it's my Support Barbarian, the perfect build if you wish to play in a party. You'll have plenty of buffies for your allies, but also the ability to pull and clean faster monsters. It will be then much more easy to do faster and harder dungeons. I'll explain you the skills and of course the skills order that you need to take. For our Barbarian we want Frenzy in order to generate resources but also to gain resistances. Then we take a damage spell, Whirlwind for example, but it's not mandatory, you can take another one if you wish. And we have our 2 boost spell, Rallying Cry, which will increase the speed, make unstoppable your allies and increase resource generation. For the War Cry, it will be very helpful to boost your party damage. Then you need to take the Steel Grasp, it will pull enemies in order to create a pack and apply vulnerability. Lastly, we want Leap for the mobility of your character. For the gear you want Strength since it's the main stats for the Barbarian, spell duration and cooldown for your boost, and resistances in order for you to tank the aggro. We'll start with Frenzy and want to reach this one in order to have damage reduction, so 24% with 3 stacks of Frenzy. Then you'll get the Whirlwind and the 2 nodes, so this one to generate Fury and this one to increase your damage 2 seconds after channeling. You can also take the Bleeding if you want. You can also start putting point in Pressure Point, it will apply vulnerability with Whirlwind, but be careful because it's based on your lucky hit. That means that you'll have first 10% to apply vulnerability on enemies, so if you have 5% of lucky hit, it will be 0.5% to apply vulnerability with Whirlwind. Then you have 2 choices, either you want to be more playing Frenzy, you put points in it, or Whirlwind, you put point in this one. You can also do a mix, a few points in this one and a few points in this one. After that you'll reach Rallying Cry, and this one will be very interesting because it gives to your party movement speed, unstoppable and resource generation. So make sure to take this node for unstoppable and this one for additional resources. Be very careful with Unstoppable because it will be the tricky point of this build. The thing is that it works on any CC, Fear, Frozen, Root, Stun and so on, so it will remove all of them, but also you'll be able to cast it if for example you are stunned. So if you are stunned you just need to press this button in order to trigger Unstoppable. By the way, that will be the only spell that you can activate because you are stunned, frozen and so on. So when you're facing for example a boss, make sure to check your ally's position in order to cast this spell at the right moment. Then we get to War Cry, it will basically increase the damage of your party. You have 2 nodes, the first one which will grant you Berserking, so we won't be playing much around Berserking, it's not that much important, and here you have the fact that it increases the damage if you have 6 enemies around when you use this cry. Also take the jump in order to gain mobility, this one which will reduce the cooldown if you don't hit any enemy, and this one which will slow enemies for 5 seconds. To unlock your next skill you have the choice to put points in your cry here and here, or in the passive just here. This one will increase duration, here for the healing, and this one to reduce damage for enemies. All of them are very interesting, that's why I like to put a bit of points in each of them to have this synergy. Then we unlock our CC spell, it will help the party to quickly clear areas. If you want for a more defensive setup you can also take this spell instead. For this spell we'll have the vulnerability here, it also works on bosses, and here an additional charge. For the remaining points this build is a bit tricky because as you can see we have our skill bar full, so we won't be using any ultimate spell, and also the K passive are not very interesting for this build, so you can take the ones that you want, it doesn't matter too much for 1 point. So once you're here you'll be maxing your skills, so this one and these 3 nodes, so put everything at max level. And for the last interesting passive you have here some move speed and this one to reduce the duration of CC effects. Don't forget to max out Pressure Point if you didn't do already, and you have this one to increase your resistances. We have 4 nodes left which are interesting, the first one which will reduce the damage from ranged attacks, this one to apply vulnerable, and the 2 left which work with Fortify, so first one to gain Fortify when hit, and second one to increase 45 damage reduction. For the expertise we also have something a bit tricky because they will overall increase your damage. except this one which will increase your lucky hit chance. So you can take this one if you want to apply vulnerable with Whirlwind, or otherwise just the ones that you want in order to boost a tip of damage. To finish this video, a quickly reminder about the Barbarian spell. You can choose the weapons that you want, especially for Whirlwind, so make sure to use the right weapon, the one that you choose to master. Thanks for watching this video. I hope this support build will help you to play in party, and don't forget to follow the channel so you can get all our new videos.